Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. It's Thursday and we are back again. My name is Jason. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy. And as always, I got my co-host Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. What's going on tonight?
Well, it is, yes, another week, another scope review. This week we are reviewing the iRay, or let's refer to this as the correct way, the Inifray Outdoor iRay USA Bolt TH50. Got it right here. We're going to be running.
You didn't even get it right.
I know.
You got it close.
Oh, it was
the TH50-C.
C. Okay, man. See, like
Yeah.
that's a lot. There's a lot going on there, but
a lot.
it is the you can refer to it simply on this show as right now as the 640 resolution bolt. Who knows what's going to come down the line? There might be another one to come down the road as well. But anyway, so we're reviewing this new thermal scope from iRay USA. The big brother from the Bolt TL35. Jason, you remember that 384 resolution bolt? Big favorite of ours here on the show. And a lot of people have purchased that 384 resolution bolt and absolutely love it. I talked to a guy this morning. He's like, man, I put it on a 22 for plinking, and it is fantastic. So with that, because a lot of people love that 384 resolution model, there's been a lot of anticipation for the 640 resolution. So we're going to jump right into it. Again, always doing the specs. Walk around. We've got lots of videos to show. We're going to be showing what's in the box. And, of course, Jason is going to be giving his thoughts. And that's what everybody cares about. You can skip forward. I should put a link in this video that goes right to your conclusion and your overall thoughts. But
Let me tell you, they're going to skip past that.
All right,
guys. Yeah. Let's go. Let's get this show on the road. Again, this is the Bolt TH50C. The 50 stands for a 50 millimeter objective lens. This optic is $5,499, so right at $5,500. It's got a 640 by 512 thermal sensor resolution. It's 12 microns. And this is the part that I like. We're going to be talking about this some more, but this unit is a 3.5 power base magnification. And I know you're saying, well, why do you like that? You're a hog hunter. Well, maybe I don't like it for me, but I like it for you guys that are out there in big country. So we'll be talking about that soon. But 3.5 power base mag. It does have digital zoom, goes up to 14 power. It is a 50 hertz refresh rate, and as I said, the 50 millimeter lens, and it is a focusable objective lens. It's got a 46-foot wide field of view at 100 yards. That's really a very good field of view for a 3.5 power optic. I know of some other 3.5 power 50 millimeter optics that are down around 42 foot, some down as low as 39. So this is actually a pretty respectable field of view there. 46 foot horizontal at 100. Display resolution. Now, this is something that we're going to talk about some more as well. This is an interesting display. First of all, the resolution is ridiculously high on this display. It's 2,560 pixels by 2,560. It's an OLED display. And what makes this unique is that it is rounded or curved on the sides. So you've got a straight edge on the top and the bottom and rounded on the sides. And I'm going to tell you, it's unique and I actually like it. I like it a lot. So we'll be talking about that. The unit does have video and audio recording. It's got picture-in-picture function. It's got 7 reticles, 5 color palettes. It mounts with normal 30 millimeter rings, and the unit does come with some rings. Hans is going to show you in a minute what comes in the box. It comes with some basic rings, but I'm going to tell you guys, you're buying a scope like this, you want to put this in some really nice high quality rings or a high quality mount. What we always suggest is the American Defense Manufacturing Recon mounts. We use those for every scope that uses 30 millimeter rings. We've been using them for years. American made, high end, $200. They're worth every single penny of it. They are a return to zero mount. So if you're looking for those, we do have those available at outdoorlegacygear.com. A rechargeable battery. Now this is interesting. So this is a 2 battery pack system. We've seen this in other scopes on this similar design, and it's just like the Bolt TL35-384 if you've ever seen that review. But basically what you have is internally you have an 18650 battery that you can't take out. So it doesn't really matter if it's an 18650, whatever it is. There's a battery inside you can't take out. Now, Inifray says in the worst, coldest conditions that this scope is rated for, which we'll get into that in a second, that this scope ought to get over 3.5 hours or more in the worst conditions. In a best conditions, which is basically turning the scope on, letting it run, just doing a bench test that we like to do, we're looking at close to 10 hours. And that is a very long battery life. So, just any kind of normal conditions, you're going to be looking at hours and hours of battery life in the field. Now, what is nice is that this scope will also allow you to add a removable 18500 rechargeable battery. So you take off the little scope, looks like a turret cover on the left-hand side, slide in a battery, and the 18500 is a weird battery. All right, you're not going to find these things everywhere. You're going to have to special order them online, but they are available. They're kind of like a short 18650. Okay, they're about that big around, but probably only 1.5 inches long. And I so far have not really been able to find any name brands in these, so you kind of just got to get whatever you can get. I bought some weird no-name brand and tried these things. I paid about $4 a piece for them, and I got almost 4 hours of battery life out of each of them. Now, remember, this is a rechargeable battery, so your time is going to vary based on how good of one of these batteries you buy, and depending on the milliamp hours and the quality and all that. But I would say on the low end, a couple hours, on the high end, 4 hours. And again, if you can buy a $3 to $5 rechargeable battery and get that many more hours out of it, that's fantastic. You get you 4 or 5 of those, and combined with the internal battery, you're hunting all night long. I mean, even in cold weather. So you'll be good to go. Also, it is worth noting, it will run off of a USB battery pack. So if you just really get in a bind and you got one of those USB power banks, you can plug this thing in to that and keep on trucking. The unit, we're talking about this cold weather. So it's got a -4 degrees Fahrenheit low temperature rating. So, we'll go down to pretty cold weather. It's got an IPS 6.7 waterproof rating. That means it is fully submersible to 3 foot for 30 minutes. And it is also completely dust proof. The weight on the unit without a mount, so just as it comes, you're looking at about 32 ounces, which is pretty similar to other scopes of this style, but 32 ounces. Recoil. It is recoil rated for a 300 Win mag or a 7mm mag. So that gets you above that 308 average that a lot of scopes are at, 300 Win or 7 mag. Detection range, 2,400 yards. Again, detection just means that you would see the heat from something out there. Most likely would be like a human-sized target standing up at that kind of range. You would see a dot of heat. I mean, I wouldn't expect to look out there and see a coyote at 2,500 yards and say, hey, look, there's a coyote. So realistically, how far can you look out there and say there's a coyote or there's a hog or what have you? Hans, I'm going to say this unit, and again, we're going to talk about how good the image quality is, but combined with the 3.5 power, I think it's 500 plus yards. I think you can easily at 500 yards in normal conditions, with a little bit of experience being a thermal hunter, look out there and say there's a coyote or a hog standing there, and there's going to be some conditions it's going to be way past that, especially depending on your experience. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and like you said, it's primarily because of 3.5 power. I mean, it's such a high base magnification, high resolution. So 500 yards, I'd say, is definitely a safe ID range to talk about.
Yep. So warranty, it's got the iRay USA 5-year warranty. iRay has what they have they call like a 1 week turnaround time. So they'll get your scope repaired or replaced back to you in a week. And that is the basic specs. Hans, did I leave anything out here?
No,
I don't think so.
But I'm going to have to beg for forgiveness because I set you up with some wrong information. Yeah, I know. So
he did the specs here. What did I say wrong?
Well, you didn't say it wrong. You read it the way I wrote it. So I came up with the specs, and this thing does not record audio. And I went back and checked it while you were talking. That's kind of a big thing. It's kind of some of the iRay stuff is confusing because some of it does come with recording, some of it doesn't.
Okay.
But that's a big thing. It does not record audio. While you were talking, I went back and watched one of my hunting videos, and it's definitely not on there.
It's funny that you said that because I was reading your specs, and when I got to that, I was like, huh. I did not remember that.
Right.
I mean, I just went right on with it. I was like, well, hey, he knows.
Yeah,
okay, so
it didn't.
Video, no audio.
Yeah, so, what we do with the specs is we review what the manufacturer says. We take that up against what we also know from the optic. And it really wasn't clear on the data sheet from iRay whether it had it or not. So I just kind of assumed that it did because the other 640 does, the Ricoh MK1 does. But this one does not, so I don't want anybody to get it thinking it had audio and it doesn't. And I set Jason up for that, so apologies.
Yeah, well, that
won't be the last time.
That's the worst you did. It's okay.
Won't be the last time. All right, so this is what's in the box, in the bag. So obviously the box is a hard cardboard style box, but this is the bag. I don't get overly excited about bags, Jason, because it gets set somewhere and never gets used ever again.
They're in the bottom of my closet.
Yeah, we got a stack of bags. Now, I do like, I do like a nice presentation with the box, though. So you got your cords, with several different ends on it. The main cord or main end that you're going to be using is a standard USB, which is going to either go into the computer or into a rechargeable battery pack, and the USB-C end, which is going to go directly into the scope. It does come with a wall charger that you can plug right into the wall and charge your scope on it. I don't know if we talked about it, Jason, but it does come with a rubber eye cup. The one I'm showing here does not have the eye cup on it. I prefer it without it, but it does come with a rubber eye cup. This is kind of neat. I don't know if any other company that does this. You may know, Jason, but it has some heated zeroing pads in there for sighting your thermal.
Yeah, that's a new deal.
Yeah. Nobody else I know that is doing that. It's pretty cool. That's it, y'all. I mean, you're getting a cord, you're getting a wall charger, you're getting an eye cup. It does not. I had a question about. It comes with a lens cleaning cloth. Somebody asked me recently about it coming with an 18500 battery. It does not come with that battery, so that's something that you're going to need to pick up after you purchase it. Again, those are pretty easy to find. They're not very expensive, but it does not come in the bag. So if you're looking for it, you won't find it.
Hey, I want to say one more quick thing that was left off of the specs that I just thought of, which I know we would mention later anyway.
Okay, don't kick a man while he's down, all right?
People.
Now,
yeah, exactly. It does have Wi-Fi streaming,
yes.
So you can use the Inifray Outdoor app.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's a big deal. Fantastic app for streaming to it, looking at your videos. We'll talk about that, but I just didn't want that to be left off and somebody to think it didn't have it. So, all right, back to your
and that Wi-Fi
walk around.
And for those out there that's asking, that Wi-Fi can be turned on or off. It's not something where it's always left on and. You don't have to.
No, and it's not connecting to the internet or anything like that. It's just you're using it to connect to your phone to stream.
All right.
So anyway, you can turn that off.
Here's the optic here. It's got the 50 millimeter objective lens on it. That's what they call it, the TH50. It's focusable objective lens with these rings right here on top. It's made out of an aluminum housing, I think like a T6 aluminum housing. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely aluminum.
I think he just
I
totally.
did make that up.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
aluminum, but
man,
I don't know what
he's
type
made
of
it up.
aluminum. I don't get all into metals and that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Not very
It's
exciting.
Just, this show's off the rails. We're making stuff up as we go now.
Exactly.
They won't trust anything else we say.
Exactly.
After that comment,
I got the
it's
wrong
like,
kind of
gosh.
aluminum on there. So you got your eyepiece diopter focus here with this ring. Again, you can put the rubber eye cup on it as well. You've got your button layout on top, your power button, your record button, brightness. You can change there's a lot of quick menu things that you can change with this. Now your full menu dial is up here on top. So it's a turret, looks like a turret. You push it down. A short press will get you into a short menu. Long press will get you into your main menu. I know you can't hear it on the recording, but when you turn it, it clicks. I had actually somebody say to me that they felt like that was a negative because they felt like the coyotes can hear it. I was like, man, I can't even hear it. I can feel it click, but I can't hear it click. So it's
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
It's gonna get me choked
yeah.
up.
But it's nice so you can feel it click. You really can't hear it, but you know that it's turning. You got your battery component. So if you're looking behind the scope, your battery compartments here on the left side, that's where your 18500 goes. And then on the right, that screws off. That's where your USB-C plug goes in, whether you're charging it, running an external battery pack, or if you are downloading videos directly to your computer, which this optic is compatible with Windows and MacBook. You can download off of either. And then rounding it out, we have it. Oh, I missed something in the bag, but I'll mention it now. It does come with a standard set of 30 millimeter rings, just a very standard set. Now, I've got it mounted on the American Defense Manufacturing. This is the Recon mount, the one that we sell at Outdoor Legacy. You can find it on a website, but it fits this bolt, the Bolt TH50 and the Bolt TL35. Fits it perfectly. Quick detach, locking levers, quick detach mount, perfect for this setup. And I think that's it. Yeah, that is it.
All right. Good. So there's a lot there, guys. But listen, I'm going to tell you something. This is what, if you want the takeaway, all right, we're supposed to do this at the end, but I'll do it right here. If you've made it this far and you're like, okay, so spill the beans. Give me the goods. What is it? This is an absolutely fantastic scope. It is, as we've said, 3.5 power base mag, maintains a good field of view. It's got a super image quality. It's got a very high resolution display screen that gives you a crisp, sharp display. The text on the screen, the reticle, it looks really, really good. It's got all the normal bells and whistles that you would want. If you are a coyote hunter, I think this scope is very, very likely for you. The one thing I would say it does not have is it doesn't have a laser rangefinder. So if that's something like, well, man, I'm going to shoot long range, I got to have a laser. Okay, that's fine. Then maybe the scope's not for you. If you don't need or have to have a laser rangefinder, I'm going to say this right now. This is a big comment. So Hans is probably already going, oh my gosh, what's he going to say? I will say that right now, we're in late summer of 2022. The scopes that are on the market today, this is a $5,500 scope. In the, let's just say under, I don't know what, $7,000. I'm fine with that. $7,000, under $7,000. I don't know of a better long range coyote hunting scope than this. I mean, it is, and I say coyote, I don't want hog hunters to think you cannot use this. We'll get into that. I mean, this thing's fantastic. Image quality is huge, and the magnification. I mean, that's the big deal. Is you want that image quality, but you need some magnification. There's a lot of great 640 scopes that are only 2 power.
Right.
you know, or 2.5, and in the threes, that's fine. You know, you've got the Inifray Rico 640 RH50. That's a 3 power. I think this unit is. I mean,
You're right.
I'll be honest. I think it's a little better than that, and it's 3.5 power, and it's $500 less. So
3.5 power,
yeah,
great battery life. I don't want to run down the pros right now, but you're right. Under what, $7,500, this is going to be the best coyote hunting thermal option in the 640 12 micron range. This is
as long that's it. As long as you don't need a laser rangefinder. I mean, this, So I'll tell you this: when we got these scopes, I got mine first. I took it out, turned it on, and I looked through it, and it was still daylight. And you can't judge a thermal scope in the daylight. Right. They all look great in the daylight, but I was blown away. And so then all you can do is wait till dark, because they all look good during the day because there's so much heat and everything. And it was late evening, but so I waited. I was tapping my foot, you know. It finally got dark, and I got out there, and I can remember this specifically. I called Hans, and I said, all right, I'm out here using this Bolt TH50C. And he goes, well, how is it? And I said, this was my words. I said, this scope is a coyote hunter's dream. And I mean, that's what I think that it is. It is just phenomenal for the guy who needs the extra magnification. Again, if you're hunting hogs, you know, at 40 yards, and this probably isn't for you. We'll kind of get into that in a little bit on who it's good for. But, well, I guess we can just do it right now. I mean, let's just talk about that. I mean, Hans, I'm going to ask you this. I mean, you do a lot of coyote hunting, but you also do a lot of hog hunting. That's what you're known for. But, you know, you've been out using this scope. What are your feelings on what distances would you say really kind of need to be your normal minimums? I'm not saying like, you know, a coyote or a hog or a cat or anything can run out on you at 20, 30 yards. Nobody can, you know, predict that. But your normal range of hunting, what would you say the minimums are? Like if you're hunting 30 yards all the time, the scope isn't for you. Where would you say that minimum is?
Yeah, it's difficult. You know, when you talk about coyote hunting or even hog hunting, if you're calling hogs in, you know, sometimes those coyotes can jump out on you pretty quick, and they can be on top of you very quick. So when you ask somebody, you know, what are your ranges, you know, for hunting coyotes, they'll say 10 yards to 300 yards. And it's hard to really know, to tell you the truth. But I'm going to say, you know, when it comes to an optic that has a high base magnification like this, it's not the first shot that's the problem. The first shot's great because you have a nice, very zoomed in picture image, very clear image. It's the second shot, or if they run, or if you're on a group of coyotes and they start running, and you can be too close. I'm going to say, you know, I shot a hog at 40 yards with it. Thankfully, it only took one shot, but it was, if that hog would have run at 40 yards, it'd have been tough. Now, I also had a coyote. I've had coyotes run in at 20 yards and take off, and you just couldn't keep up with it. So I would say, really, you're going to want, I'd say 75 yards, really. If I had to,
you want most of your shooting to be 75.
Yeah, and if you're stalking, if you're stalking up on coyotes, which a lot of people do, you know, playing the wind and stalking up on coyotes, it's amazing. You get some of these younger coyotes get out in the field and they're playing around or digging up a mouse or something. They won't even know anything's around. They're oblivious with it. So you can't stalk up on them. But you're just, with a scope like this, you're just going to have to stay further back, a little bit further back. But you know, this scope is for somebody that is primarily hunting in wide open spaces, and that's the one or people that like higher magnification.
I think the exception to the rule is I will talk to guys that are hog hunters primarily, and they're hunting, you know, down here in the South somewhere, but instead of doing the big spot and stalk that we do, they may be in smaller fields, or they may be on, you know, like some sort of deer lease where, you know, there's log roads, or South Texas Senderas or something, cut lanes, but they'll be hunting over a feeder. And so they get one shot anyway. You know, it's really a shoot. They scatter like a covey of quail. And a lot of those guys tell me, like, man, I want I want magnification because field of view doesn't really matter. I know where the hogs are, I know where they're going to be, and I know where they're going to go. They're going to go to the brush. I'm getting one shot, and I want to make that count.
Right.
And so I think for a guy like that, it would work as well. But I agree with your number. I was going to be interested to see what you said, but I think you're right. About 75 yards needs to be your average minimum shot. Like Hans said, you can shoot at 40 yards. You can shoot at 20 yards. It's just not where that scope sweet spot is. I think its sweet spot is going to be in that 75 to 200,
Right.
maybe 250. I mean, and you can shoot further than that, obviously, if you know your distances. But yeah, I totally agree. Well, let's talk about, some of the pros and cons of the scope. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Our con is kind of small here. It's not a big list. I think the scope feels a little heavy. I say this, and then when we look at the specs, it really falls in line with the other similar scopes. Anytime you get a scope and you put a 50 millimeter lens on it and all that glass and germanium, I mean, it's going to weigh something. So I guess you look at that. It's not the lightest scope in the world, but I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I could kind of come up with.
You're right. It is not heavy compared to other scopes and other scope manufacturers, it's a similar model. But what you will not probably be able to do with it, it's not something that you're going to want to take on and off to use as a binocular. That's something you're not going to want to do.
And hang on, let me just speak to that real quick. That's just because of the body style.
It's just
it's 12, 13 inches long. And that thing is awkward. You can't hold that with one hand, and you're going to need to hold it with two to steady it. It's awkward. I mean, you could do that in some sort of a bind or a pinch, but if you want to take your scope off and go right around sometimes just spotting and looking, you're not going to want to do it with this style of scope.
It's not what I would consider if you're trying to build a lightweight setup that you can walk through the brush with. This isn't that optic, but most people that are using this are coyote hunters, and they're shooting a lot of them are shooting bolt action rifles, or a lot of them shooting ARs. They're not a lot of guys using a 3.5 power aren't using AR pistols. Some of them are. I had it mounted on a Grendel pistol, and it was just fine. But yeah, I mean, it's not just a very compact setup. But again, you wouldn't expect it to be for a coyote hunting long range scope. Really, that was the only. We sat here and tried to think about more negatives. And
yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I know some guys are going to see as a negative, I don't know. Hans and I are
internal
kind of
battery
indifferent on it. It's that some guys don't like the internal battery, but we don't care. We're used to that. I mean, I say we don't care. Obviously, it'd be great if it didn't, but it is what it is. That is, I think, no audio, doesn't really bother us. I mean, look, we're doing this for a living and we get by, but I know there's some guys, they just can't stand that there's no audio. Now, Hans, correct me if I'm wrong, but what they can do is they can use the Inifray Outdoor app, streaming to it, and start the recording from there, and it will use their phones, your iPhone or your Android, it will use the microphone in it and record the audio. That's correct?
Yep. And the Wi-Fi can be used to do that, and also, obviously, you can use it in viewfinder mode to look on your tablet or phone while you're got the scope turned on. So, you can use it through there.
So we just turned from the negatives. We just rolled right into the positives. So the app is good. I want to talk about this display for a second. I'm going to tell you something else that's interesting about this display, and I kind of like it. It's took me a minute, but on the right hand side of the screen, and remember it's rounded a little bit. There is there's these little.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on videos, but it's
it's not on the video. It's in your screen. It's these little green bars, but they're going up at this angle, like the side of the display. And when I first got it, I was like, "What is?"
Couldn't figure it out.
I mean, what? I'm not going to read the manual because that's what that's what I can tell all my customers to do. But I just take it. I'm like, "What is that?" And then it hit me. that was the battery
Mm-hmm.
gauge. And so as it goes down, the bars start going down, and I was like, it's actually kind of cool. I mean, it's probably a little bigger than it has to be, or had to be, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. I like it. I actually was very hesitant about the rounded display until I got my hands on it. I mean, when it had been described to me, when the guys over at iRay USA were telling me about it, I was just like, oh man, I don't think I'm going to like this. I just had this gut feeling of like, this is going to be a mess. Tell you the truth, it's very natural.
Right.
It does not feel weird at all. Even if you're used to thermal hunting and using a rectangular display, I don't I mean, it feels, to be honest, it feels natural. And when you use it for a little while and then you go back to a regular thermal scope where it's rectangular and the sides are square, that feels kind of weird. Because if you think about it, we're always used to, in daytime optics, a perfectly round, circle. And so I don't know. It feels really good. I think it's a pro, not a con. I mean, I think I don't think it's like the only reason to go out and buy the scope, but I think it's kind of cool. And
is,
I was
yeah.
very concerned about it, but once I used it, I was like, no, man. I mean, you just forget all about it.
The display is big, which helps me. A lot of guys out there, their eyesight's not as great as it used to be. It makes the reticle very, very sharp and distinct, and you can clear. I've had issues in the past with other scopes being able to see the reticle very well. Even with you when you focus it, it just seems really, really hard to see. This is perfect. I mean, the display is really, really good. It's a big advantage. The semi-round, I guess, display on it, rounded on the edges, is really cool. Looks great. I too, I had to call you and say, what are the green bars on the side? And and I tried to figure it out and couldn't figure it out. Even I did look through the manual, and I guess I missed it and skipped over it. But
hey, I wanna ask you something here. So this is something that and I'm gonna ask you specifically because this is your area of expertise. So something that we had discussed previously on the Inifray Rico MK1 640s, the RH35, the RH50, and the Alpha, was that we didn't think that because we were being nitpicky, we didn't think that the black hot color palette was as good as it could have been. Again, guys buy them, use it every day,
Right.
but again, this is what we do. We try to be nitpicky. On this, I say, the reason I say you're the expert, you're the black hot guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I turn on black hot to video some stuff just because I know you want me to. I'm a white hot guy. It's all I ever use. Again, you're black hot. What do you honestly, and this is not a setup, guys, I really don't know what he's going to say. I use the black hot. I know what I think, but this is all Hans use. What do you think about the black hot on this? Is it any different or any better than it is on those other units?
It is better than the Rico. It feels like it does feel like it's a little bit better. I would still say though that the white hot is going to be the best on.
Okay.
Seems like on all the iRay products. iRay's the white hot's best, but the black hot does look better than the Rico. When I hunted with it, I hunted and videoed in black hot, so. Seemed pretty good to me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to know is what you recorded and hunted in, because I know if you didn't like it, I mean, if you didn't think it was good, you wouldn't have done it.
Right.
So, yeah. So my opinion was, I thought it was better. I thought it was significantly better. Again, I'm not the black hot expert. I don't use it all the time, but when I did use it, video and some hogs and stuff, I was like, really not bad. So yeah, but I'm a white hot guy, so I just thought I'd ask. Well, I think another go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to roll into some more.
Me too. That's what I go.
One
ahead.
thing I always like to talk about too is the to me, I felt like this scope was very easy to use, functionality wise, menu wise. Again, the display is very big, so the text from the menu seemed bigger, like very easy to read. The font just seemed like a larger font, and you could go through not a lot of menu items to choose from, which I think is good. I mean, it's not cluttered. It's very basic, very easy to understand. So I would say that this scope, as far as being overly complicated, you don't have to worry about that at all. I think that if you're,
Yeah, I agree.
if you can turn your cell phone on, then you can operate this scope. I wouldn't be concerned about it.
So I want to talk about two quick things. One, we've gone on and on about the image quality, how much we like it, and the magnification and all that. But and we've talked. I made the comment. I said, under $7,500, I think it's the best coyote hunting scope out there on the market today. And we always give the disclaimer of when we're saying this, because things change. There could be something new come out next week, next month. That's technology.
Right.
But with that said, I tell you a big thing is the fact that it is 640 high resolution and 3.5 power. And I know there's some of y'all are like, what are you talking about? There's 3 powers all over the market. What's it? Well, I'm not saying this is wildly different, but 3.5, it is a little bit more. And there is no, Hans, I'm going to say this and correct me if I'm forgetting something. There's no other 640 scope that we use, review, sell, recommend, anything that I can think of under $7,500 that's 640 3.5 power. They're all 3 power or under.
Yeah, this definitely,
and so,
this scope definitely fits into a segment of the market that's kind of void right now. So it kind of fits in there perfect. And this is going to be a very good option for all you longer range shooting people that, that they're trying to get a great scope and not pay, more than $7,500. But yeah, it fits nicely. There's a void in the market, and this fits right into it.
Yeah, I think so. And so I think that, what you're getting here is a lot of bang for the buck. And I know, so let's talk about quick. I mean, the Inifray Rico RL42 384, that is iRay's, 4 power base magnification 384 resolution scope. Super popular with coyote hunters. And they have the choice of getting that as an RH50 and a 3 power. And a lot of them do. But I've had guys say, man, I wish they had the 640 in a 4 power. Well, they don't, but they just got one step closer. I mean, they got 3.5. You're making a big difference there. So anyway, I just think that this is really well designed, and it's, like you said, it's kind of filling a void and tapping into the market where there's a little bit of a gap. Also, I mean, we've already mentioned it, but I think rounding out the pros, you can't talk about an iRay USA product without talking about the 5-year warranty. I mean, that is a big deal. Everybody loves long warranties. The longer that you can get, the better. And 5 years is as long as any warranty in this industry. And again, with iRay USA, they're based here in Texas, and they do have the 1 week turnaround policy on a repair replace. It's that warranty is worth a lot, and it gives you the peace of mind. Also, I tell you what, a lot of guys like about it, they can use the scope, and they know they can get 2 or 3 years out of it, and then they want to upgrade. They can sell it, and the guy buying it has still got 2 or 3 years of warranty. Yeah. So it really, really helps when it comes to resale, because the guy that you're selling it to doesn't have to be like, okay, well, I've got 3 months of warranty left, so I got to see if this guy's done anything to this. I mean, he's got years left if he plays his cards right. So anyway, at the end of the day, I think it is one heck of a really good scope. I think it's going to be very popular. And it's just one more scope that's out there to, I know, add confusion for a lot of people. They don't know what to choose. Right. And Hans, I think that's where, hopefully you and I come in and we can help them with that.
Yeah, so if you're looking to purchase the Inifray Outdoor iRay USA Bolt TH50C, there you go, Jason. And didn't forget the C this time.
That's good job.
You can find it on the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. If you want to talk to us first and make sure that this is the right thing for you, and you're just trying to make sure you make the right decision. That's completely understandable. Give us a call, 877-350-1818. Tell Angela or Michaela, say, hey, I heard the guys talking on the show about the TH50. I want to talk to them about it. And they'll send you over to one of us. You can find all of the past Late Night Vision Show episodes on the latenightvision.com website. You go check out all the past episodes. And thank you for watching on YouTube if you're watching there, or on Facebook, or on Spotify. If you're listening on the road, you're driving somewhere and you're listening on iTunes or Google Play, we appreciate it. Please give us a good rating over there as well. You can find Jason on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram. You've made it this whole way without coughing. You don't start now. We're at the finish line. You can find Jason at Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can find me on YouTube, Hans ETX. That's Hans ETX, and then you can also find me on Instagram at the same thing.
All right, guys. Listen, thanks for watching this review. Like Hans said, if you've watched this and you go, well, it sounds great, but they all sound great. I haven't ever looked through them. I don't know how they compare. I don't want to just buy one and this is a lot of money and just be wrong. That's what we're here for. If you're looking to make your purchase from Outdoor Legacy, then you one of the services that you get, the benefit of buying from us, is that we're going to help you before and after the sale. So we know it's confusing. Guys, just give us a call. We are glad to help and answer any questions, because we want to take the confusion out of the night vision and thermal optic buying process. Guys, thank you for watching this show. Thank you for all the support. We hope to see y'all again here next Thursday. So between now and then, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.